Welcome back, students. Today we're going to work on factoring quadratic trinomials, but this time the leading coefficient, or in other words, the a, is going to be a number other than 1. So I have a completed example for you, and hopefully you'll notice that the process is the same process as what we did with your lesson 7. The difference is that sometimes when you're doing that first dividing, it won't always be that you just divide by x, because the a, this number in front of your x squared, is not going to be a 1 in this lesson. But we're still going to do our multiply to AC and add to B table, and we'll be ending up with 2 parentheses. So you have your completed example shown at the top of the notes, and I'll be doing 2 examples for us as part of this video. So for the first one, we have 2m to the second minus 13m minus 24. So we'll, as always, look to see, can we divide each term by some number? And I see the 2 and the 24, so I might want to check 2, but 13 won't divide by 2. Not all the terms have an m in them, so I do not have any common factors, and therefore I need to proceed to getting the a, b, and c. So a is the number in front of the m squared. That will be a 2 this time. B is negative 13. That's the number in front of the m. And C, the number without a variable, that's the negative 24. Now, sometimes your numbers get a little bit bigger. So as you're working with this section, use a calculator if you need it. We're going to go to our table. We'll be looking for what will multiply to our AC. Well, our A times C, that's 2 times negative 24. And so for this problem, that is negative 48. And then B, which is negative 13. So we'll think about what multiplies to 48. Ignoring the negative for the time being. Again, start with 1 if need be. So 1 times 48, 2 times 24. Sometimes your list is a little bit longer to get these. 3 times 16, 4 times 12, and 5 does not work, but 6 will. 6 times 8, 7 does not work, and those are all of our factors of 48. So in that list, as you look through, and again, you may have to use a calculator, but we need a negative 48. So we're going to need to find something that we could make one of the numbers negative and have them add up to negative 13. Well, the pair that will work is the 3 and the 16, but we'll need to make the bigger number negative so that when we add 3 and negative 16, we'll get negative 13. So this is our pair that we will use in order to split the middle. All right, so as we did before, we take our first term, which is not just m squared, it is 2m to the second. And then we'll take our 2 numbers from the table. So that was positive 3m. Notice that I'm putting an m with it since that's what my middle term has, an m. And then minus 16m. And then I'll bring down my last term, which is negative 24. So we're ready to do the cut line. And notice that we can divide. Now, We do have a number in front of the m squared, but both those numbers do not divide by 2. So we can still just only divide by m. I'll write the m outside of my parentheses. I do want to be careful now because when I'm dividing, I still have the 2. So I'll have 2m plus, and then the m's will cancel on that second part to give me 3. So m times 2m plus 3. On the other side of the cut line, I have both negative numbers. So remember, when your third term is a negative, then we need to divide by a negative. So we're going to divide by a negative. I'm going to go ahead and put the negative sign on my next line so that I don't forget it. We have to think of the biggest number that will divide into both 16 and 24. Now that number is 8. You want to again use the biggest one you can. So we will divide by negative 8. And negative 16 divided by negative 8 is 2m. Negative 24 divided by negative 8 is positive 3. So notice that we once again have the matching parentheses of 2m plus 3. And if I mark that out, then my other factor will be what's not marked out, and that would be m minus 8. So the process is the same. I can put that in my answer blank, 2m plus 3 times m minus 8. The process is the same, but the numbers are a little bit bigger to deal with, and your list of multiply and adds, or of multiplies, might be a little bit longer. So let's move on to your second example. And that should be on the back of your papers. On your second example, you have 3b to the second minus 11b plus 6. If I check to see if I could divide each term by 3, I cannot divide 11 by 3. I also cannot divide each term by b because the 6 doesn't have a b. So there are no like factors. I start with identifying a, b, and c. A is 3, b is negative 11, c is 6. So as I move to the table, I'll want to multiply so that I have a times c equaling 18. 3 times 6 is 18. And my b I want to add so that I get negative 11. So factors of positive 18, 1 times 18, 2 times 9, and 3 times 6. Those are all my factors of 18. As I look at that, I need to get a negative 11, but keep a positive on my multiply. That means that I'm going to have to use 2 negatives. So I need to make both my numbers negative. The numbers that would add up to give me negative 11 would be negative 2 and negative 9. And they will also multiply and keep it as positive 18. So that's where I'm going to make the split. So I have my first term as 3b to the second. Then the middle is split using negative 2b and negative 9b. And then we'll bring down the plus 6. We'll draw the cut line and notice that we can divide. Now, I almost always will put my smaller number first out of the negative 2 and the negative 9. I don't want to say smaller. I'll say that I use the the smaller absolute value of my number. And that makes it so that often all I do have to divide for is my variable. But you do have to check this. So I can divide by b, and that makes my parentheses 3b minus 2. So the b's would cancel. My third term is a negative, so I'll have to divide by a negative. I'm going to put that in that next line. A number, the biggest number that will divide into both 9 and 6 is going to be a 3. So I'll divide by negative 3. And negative 9b divided by negative 3 would be 3b. And then 6 divided by negative 3 is negative 2. My parentheses once again match. So 3b minus 2. And my other factor would be the b minus the 3. So we did not think that you needed as many examples today because you have the same process. You just have a little bit larger numbers sometimes. So there is an answer blank down at the bottom of your papers if you want to write the 3b minus 2 and the b minus 3 in there. You can do that. And this will be your homework 8 notes. So make sure that you are completing your assignments and asking for help as needed. Good luck with homework 8.